Throughout human history, warps, wefts, and their weaving on looms have been used to understand the living process. Archetypal myths from different ages mention the three sisters as the weavers of fate. It is up to one of them at the moment of a person's birth to spin the thread of life that will be up to the newborn to live. Another of the sisters is responsible for mentioning time and plot as well as shaping the threads that will build this person's life. And the third weaver will be responsible for cutting the thread of life. In this way, the death of a person is determined irreversibly, and the time lapse between birth and death, typical of life, is then concluded. In a spiritual approach to the path of unfolding, the threads and fabrics in the hands of weavers emerge as a means to explore the doctrine of Cafh throughout the symbology of the loom in a rich metaphor. The fabric illustrates the process of spiritual unfolding of human beings. In this context, the act of weaving represents the conscious and deliberate action that each individual takes to build their life and achieve a higher purpose. The doctrine of Cafh is compared to the loom or hook, which provides the basic framework to hold the warp in a way equivalent to the axioms and essential postulates. The weft, also ever present, symbolizes the fundamental principles that sustain and strengthen the spiritual life. These principles serve as the thread that holds the taut warp together, maintaining the integrity of the fabric and supporting all the actions and decisions that an individual takes in their pursuit of personal and spiritual development. The role of the weaver represents human consciousness and will as the necessary instruments to guide the weft through yarns, which symbolizes the need and possibility of spiritual unfolding. Every conscious action, every decision made with purpose, add value to the tapestry of life, forming a unique design that represents inner growth and connection with the divine. The weft intertwines with the warp to form a consistent fabric with human experience, which is life itself. This symbolism underscores how experiences, relationships, and learnings are woven together to form a unique and meaningful pattern. Difficulties represent the knots and tangles of yarns are not insurmountable obstacles, but opportunities to strengthen the fabric, reflecting the human capacity to overcome challenges and find beauty in imperfections. The doctrine of Cafh establishes four essential postulates that sustain this process of spiritual weaving. They are the transcendence of God, which represents the superior principle that guides existence, motivating the constant search for connection with the divine. The infinite potential of human being highlights the unlimited capacity of consciousness and will, which drives the individual to expand his capacities. The spiritual unfolding that sets the path to personal and universal understanding, radiating peace and happiness to society. It is the fundamental task of human being that emphasizes the responsibility of spiritual growth as an inherent and ongoing duty. The texture of fabric corresponds to the characteristics of the doctrine of Cafh, which is flexible, up-to-date, and practical, adapting to individual needs, just as a fabric can be adapted to different uses. Its principles encourage creative freedom and comprehensiveness, like the yarns that intertwine to form a harmonious design. The teaching of Cafh provides the tools to perfect this art, helping the weaver to handle the materials of his existence with wisdom and purpose. Renunciation is one of the pillars of the teaching and is compared to undoing the knots that weaken the fabric, allowing it to be more resistant and beautiful. The expansion of consciousness broadens the scope of the fabric, integrating various elements of life and enriching it with new perspectives and understanding. The fabric of life is presented as a living work. The purpose of Cafh, illustrated by the metaphor of weaving, is to achieve a conscious, meaningful, and transforming life. This metaphor is not only inspiring but also practical, as it invites people to take control of their lives by carefully choosing the threads, patterns, and techniques they want to incorporate into their work. In short, Caph's doctrine, with its integral approach and fundamental principles, serves as a guide that enables each human being to weave a unique and various spiritual tapestry, reflecting their development, creativity, and connection with the universe.